A very good day to one and all here today. On the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, some of our youth here are going to share their thoughts, experiences and certain insights on Mahatma Gandhi. First up, we have Shirley D'Souza, one of our confirmation students who's going to share with us the attribute of honesty.
Mahatma Gandhi wasn't a great orator, didn't have a very attractive physique, lived a life of simplicity and avoided limelight as much as he could. But still, he is regarded as one of the greatest persons to have ever walked on earth. The reason is he always believed in himself. He believed that he has a great responsibility to free his country, and he had complete faith in himself. His faith in himself triggered his faith of millions of Indians in him. Mahatma Gandhi was a man of great character. He condemned violence, kept himself away from the materialistic desires, and walked a path of high moral. He maintained a life of simplicity and discipline. He never resorted to violence and was the most prominent figure in the non-violent side of movements for the independence of India. He always favored truth and honesty. I would like to share one incident of my life. This incident took place in my ninth grade. Our first term exams were on. On the day of my science paper, just after we got our question paper, we realized that the multiple choice questions were difficult and only some scholars knew the answer and the rest waited for the supervisor to get distracted so that the answer can be passed to the others, and I too was one of them. And after half an hour, the supervisor went in the next class to get extra supplements, and the whole class started whispering and passing the answers to each other. Just then I felt that by doing this I am supporting lies and being dishonest to myself, so I decided not to cheat and walk on the path of truth and be honest to myself. In this memory and honor, today, International Day of Non-Violence is observed worldwide. If we begin to resort to and resolve our problems and conflicts peacefully, without violence and in cooperation with each other, thousands of innocent lives can be saved that are lost in mindless wars. On this birthday of Gandhiji, make a pledge to assimilate and adapt these qualities in your life and make the world a better place.
We have Jordan Lobo who will speak about leadership and courage and how we incorporate them in our day-to-day lives.
Friends, Indians, countrymen, lend me your ears. Did that come out right? Nothing like a desi twist to a well-known saying to get everyone's attention. Speaking of well-known quotes, let's see who gets this one right. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Yes, that's correct. Bapuji, the father of our nation, said those words. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who was later bestowed with the title Mahatma, the father of our nation, was an Indian lawyer, politician, and anti-colonial nationalist. He led the most successful non-violent resistance against British rule. His strict ideologies, simplicity, grit, and determination are of awe-inspiring proportions, and his model of resistance have inspired several freedom movements across the world. Born on 2nd October 1869 in an Indian Gujarati family, he was fortunate to escape the rigors of Indian life. As he studied at the Inner Temple Law College in London, he then shifted to South Africa, where a series of movements molded his ideologies and led him back to India. These events were based on racial discrimination due to his skin color. Once, while traveling on a stagecoach along with Europeans, he was asked to sit on the floor next to the driver. He obviously refused. He was soundly thrashed for his non-compliance to the white men rule. In another incident, he was made to quit a train at Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. After he refused to leave the first-class coach, consequently, he slept the entire night shivering at the railway station. These incidents struck a deep chord, and he decided to return back home to India in 1915 and free the motherland from the clutches of its oppressors. He joined the Indian National Congress in 1915, and in 1920 he was at its helm. With his position consolidated, he led several movements like the Champaran Satyagraha, Khada Satyagraha, Salt Satyagraha, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, and finally, the Quit India movement. Truth, non-violence, service, and Swaraj were the four pillars on which he based his political edifice. His widespread applications of ahimsa to the freedom struggle have caused many historians to believe that he was the originator of the principles of non-violence. His staunch support for non-violence was clearly demonstrated during the Chauri Chawla incident. During this incident, angry demonstrators attacked a police station and set it ablaze, resulting in the death of 22 policemen. Mahatma Gandhi instantly stopped his successful, ongoing non-cooperation movement. Due to this incident, he would never tarnish his movements by the stains of any kinds of violence. He was a compassionate leader filled with empathy for the poor and oppressed. Until today, he is one of the most well-recognized freedom fighters in the world. He wore homespun khadi garments to show his solidarity with the poor. He was a constant thorn in the side of the British, who could only imprison him time and again. In order to spite his oppressors, he would carry on long periods of fasting. This shows how composed and detached he was to worldly desires. As a great leader once said, happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. We are fighting a prolonged war against the coronavirus, and the end is not in sight. While there are several rules enforced for our own safety, we too face a daily struggle as our freedom is being curtailed by curfew. Let us emulate the father of our nation and exhibit discipline and honesty towards following these rules. While it may be easy to find fault in others who fail to obey the rules, let us draw inspiration from Gandhiji's other famous quote, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Thank you.
Next, we have Shania Figueredo, who will be speaking certain attributes of Mahatma Gandhi relating to our day and age. Let's hear what she has to say.
I would like to share a few thoughts on the principles and teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the nation, and its relevance in today's times. The title, Mahatma Gandhi, as we all know, means great soul. Mahatma Gandhi was an empowering leader, not just because he inspired all Indians and the world over, but because his actions spoke louder than his words. The principles and teachings of Mahatma Gandhi are an inspiration for all of us to follow. When we look at the principle of non-violence, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. This quote only goes to demonstrate that there is no end to violence in following this way. Mahatma Gandhi always believed in what he stood for, focused on achieving things in a peaceful manner. One doesn't need to use force to achieve something, but can still make a big difference in a gentle way. We need to shun violence, anger, hate, and promote peace instead. Going to the principle of equality, Gandhiji always believed in the principle of equality and championed the cause of the marginalized and economically weaker sections. He always stood for unity and strongly supported communal harmony among the different communities. We all have a big role to play in closely following these principles in order to ensure that there is no discrimination among people on the basis of color, caste, creed, and gender. Mahatma Gandhi's life is so beautifully reflected one of the most important principles of simple living. Today, we all live in a materialistic world. Yes, all thanks to social media in promoting buying of the latest gadgets or branded goods. There's no point denying that behind much of this glitter and expense is social pressure. Imagine all that wasteful expenditure just to emulate your social peers? Gandhiji's statement in My Experiments with Truth is so apt even today. Buy only when you need it. Yes, buy only when you need it. This is so relevant even today, and youth should understand the value of money, avoid unnecessary spending, and the significance of saving it. In conclusion, today, as our nation celebrates the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, his life and teachings continue to be a great source of inspiration for all of us youth today. Thank you.
Now we have one of our very own teachers of Santa Cruz, Annrose D'cruz, who will now speak about the life of being a teacher. As we all know, Mahatma Gandhi was a teacher.
Good morning, dear fellow parishioners, and I wish I could say happy feast, because that really is the essence of what I am going to be sharing on: the life and principles of someone heroic in virtue, unparalleled in his accomplishments, martyred for his beliefs, and worthy of emulation by us all, especially as teachers. So I'll say instead, Jai Gandhi Ji, Jai Hind, Happy Gandhi Jayanti. What inspiration can Gandhi provide us teachers who are very much learners? Today, I plan to learn from Gandhiji's amazing life, and I hope we can learn together. The gift to learn is always there, and to be taught and to teach enriches life. Where did Mahatma get that almost inexhaustible well of mental strength to carry on a relentless battle to achieve his ideals? One sees that Gandhi spent hours, yes, hours meditating. So if I am to fulfill my idealistic plan of saving the world, I must go to my God, who is the source of my strength to fill my well before I can carry out any part of my mission, and to return frequently to that well for inspiration and courage. Gandhi was a great leader, and yes, we teachers too are leaders to those tender in age and most impressionable of all. Hence, like Mahatma, we need to embrace truth in whatever we say or do. Our students must be able to trust our teachers at all times and believe deep down that whatever we say is completely honest and aimed only for their greater good. If we can do this, half our battle is won. And if that honesty is repeated in the home context, then our young people will be able to filter and judge for themselves the veracity of all that they see and hear around them. Next, we have another principle of Gandhi, which I admit is difficult to emulate. But if we can do it, then we will be walking in the footsteps of our greatest leader and the father of our nation. And that principle is identifying ourselves with the weakest of our followers. If we teachers can in our mind and conscience imagine ourselves in the shoes of the weakest members of our community, then we have in our hands the magic tool of learning and education, which can lift these kids or help them climb out of their vicious cycle of poverty and exploitation. To quote of the Mahatma, our greatness lies not so much in being able to remake the world, it lies in being able to remake ourselves. Another area we can learn from Gandhiji is his creativity. When Gandhi realized that he needed something more than high-ended weapons to get his message across, he became innovative and paradoxically used peace as his method for fighting for freedom. Yes, we teachers have been challenged by the pandemic to be creative, and it has been a huge challenge, I assure you. May we learn from our great leader to carry on with grit, courage, and determination till we reach our goal. Finally, even after Gandhi had achieved his dream of Indian independence, he did not want any position of power. It is the very antipode of what every leader today tries to do by clinging to power by means fair or foul. From Gandhi we learn that working at the grassroots, one makes the biggest impact and achieves the greatest success. May we learn from Gandhi to make prayer, truth, honesty, humility, and creativity the beacons that guide us teachers and students along the right path of love, peace, and justice for all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Lastly, we have Niyam Gupta, a mentor to the youth group movement, who will now speak certain insights on Mahatma Gandhi. Let's hear what he has to say.
We have heard some of our youth speaking about their insights, beliefs, experiences and stories. We've also heard one of our teachers, Annrose D'cruz, share with us her life of being a teacher. We have now almost come to the end of this program. If I may address the youth first, and of course, all those who are young at heart. While in our younger days we have been in school, college, even in our workplaces, we receive various forms of honors. Honors in terms of certificates, prizes, even our graduation certificates. It feels good to be honored. But I hope tonight you will ponder on this. What does it mean to receive an honor? What does it feel to be honored? And may I propose something? Let the joy of having received an honor lead you to the self-examination. Am I truly honorable? The world needs people whose worth is not measured only by their achievements. We need people of honor. We badly need people of honor. And to help you in your examination of conscience, may I propose 3 short points. First, be honorable not just because of your excellence in knowledge, in skills, and in other endeavors. Be honorable because you are an authentic person. The world is looking for authenticity and integrity. People who are sensitive to others, those who are attentive to what's happening in the world, people who live in truth and are not afraid of it, people who decide not based on self-interest, but based on values and people, and especially those who act in love. Love transcends oneself, and when you have transcended yourself, you are an authentic person. Second point is, be honorable by being a person of peace. You know, when I was in school, people used to talk about IQ, intelligent quotient. Then they started talking about EQ, emotional intelligence. Now they talk about CQ, cultural intelligence. And cultural intelligence demands that we are all aware of our biases and second nature prejudices. These have also inflicted our cultures. Cultural intelligence also demands from us an appreciation of the humanity of other people, those who differ from us, seeing the good in them. And because who I am, and I see the beauty in others, I learn from others, and I am no longer blind to my biases and prejudices. These lead to the roots of violence, discrimination, and hatred. Be people of peace. Be aware of your thoughts, your interior movements that lead you to disparage other people, even when they are not doing anything, they're just being themselves, and we have this violent reaction towards them. We need people of peace, but it demands a certain level of cultural intelligence. And finally, be honorable by being a humble servant. Humility in service. And I always turn to Jesus Christ, who said, I came to serve and not to be served. And before he died, he took a wash basin, a towel, and washed the feet of his disciples. He did not have to do that, for it was the work of slaves. But he chose to do it. It was not imposed on him by his standing. In fact, his standing excused him of service. But he chose to do it, and we should also choose it. Service demands humility, self-emptying, not because I find no worth, but because I find worth in giving of myself. Pride destroys, pride blinds. Many of us of our weaknesses, and especially blinds us, unfortunately, to the goodness in others. Pride makes me expect others to do work for me instead of making me expect myself to serve others. Pride creates barriers and walls instead of bridges and friendship. Humility brings honor. When you are with someone so full of themselves and very proud, no matter how intelligent that person is, no matter how much of an achiever that person is, you do not want to be with that person. It is the humble servant that brings honor and honors humanity. Mahatma Gandhi, and today on this occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, we see that these qualities also reflect many people who are followers and non-followers of Mahatma Gandhi. And we are all called to be just like him. And I hope that through your authenticity, your peace building and humble service, you will not only bring honor to yourselves, but to your family, the parish, the community, and the largest of all, our nation. On behalf of everyone, firstly, I would like to thank Father Franklin for giving us speakers this opportunity and platform to speak on Gandhi Jayanti and on his attributes and values. I would personally like to thank our speakers, Shirley, Jordan, Shania, and Annrose D'cruz, whose thoughts and inspirations will definitely go a long way. Lastly, I would like to thank Nathan Kumar, who has been a very active host in this program. Thank you, Nathan Kumar. I wish everyone a great day. Take care. Bye-bye and stay safe.